People, deluded are back again. Now, for those of you that have been watching me long enough, you know I've spoken about Sandro Tonali. I mean, the first time I came across him was in the Under 19s Championship, in which Portugal won, and sadly for him, Italy lost. Um, I've told you guys I'll make a video on specifically him for a while now, and I've probably delayed in that aspect. But for those that follow me on Instagram, Deludaguna04, Snapchat Dguna04, Twitter, I've been speaking about the player, and obviously with the links to Inter Milan, Juventus, Chelsea, and actually now Arsenal, you're seeing that he has some talent. When I spoke about him in I believe, while I didn't speak about him specifically, my Euro, if any of you want to go watch my Euros under 19s scouting report, and where obviously I spoke about a bunch of players, he was one of them. Now, why I fell in love with this player is a central midfielder. He's compared to Pirlo, for those who don't know. In fact, some go as far to say as he's ahead of Pirlo at his age, because when you consider that Pirlo actually played slightly more further forward than what he is now, which is this deep lying playmaker, Regista sort of man, if you get what I'm saying, or was before he retired. So yeah, it's easy to see the similarities. I mean, they've both got long hair, both great centre midfielders, both very cultured midfielders. Both played for Brescia. Both kind of both good at set pieces. I mean, I don't like to compare players to past and present, but if there was ever Pirlo reincarnated, it definitely is Sandro Tonali. I mean, what I love about him, or fell in love with him in the games against, I believe, Norway, Finland. I don't think he played that many minutes initially in the group stages against Portugal. And there's another nation, there's another country. I believe it was France that he impressed against. Why I love the player, he floats between the lines very well. I believe his positioning can improve, but it's advanced beyond his years. He plays with a massive maturity. It doesn't matter if it's what sort of set piece, whether it's corners, free kicks, he's a danger and can put them in areas of danger. He's got an appreciation for his teammates. He works hard. He's quite a strong lad as well. I don't think he's necessarily slow, but he makes up for his lack of pace by being in the right positions, and that can actually improve. He's got good balance. What I like about him is he doesn't play on instinct. Many young players play on instinct, and that's probably why they find it hard to have a balance. Because if I'm a manager, youthful player, sometimes you need that youthful exuberance to do random things. You need that in your squad, but sooner or later you need to be calculated in your actions. You can't play on instinct. You need to know what you're going to do before you get the ball, what you're going to do 10 minutes after you get the ball, more or less, no exaggeration. And he's someone that knows what they're doing. He paints a picture and then follows it. He doesn't stand there and admire his pass when he's made a mad pass. He tries to get involved further into the play. He's energetic. There's a lot to like about him. Mainly his technical qualities with a football, long and short range passing, dictating the game. There's not much he can't do. It's easy to see why he's linked with a lot of clubs. If you look at his experience, I mean, I see similarities with Guendouzi. They're completely different players apart from the same position. Sorry, but why I say that is because I don't know if Guendouzi admittedly has more or less off the top of my head. I should really know that to hands, but he's got 26 appearances in Serie B for playing for Bastia already. At 18, turning 19 next year, how many equivalent young players? Obviously, you can say, to be fair, European leagues, there are probably kids that do that. But how many British, specifically Premier League exports or British equivalents playing in the Premier League or owned by a Premier League club, could you say have made 26 senior appearances at a decent level? How many could you say have made 100? He's on his way to that. Obviously, he's only made 26 appearances, so he's not the finished article. Like I said, while his positioning is good at times, it can be better. Concentration is very high, but it could be better. And it's just about refining your game and becoming even more calculated to take that next step. It's easy to see why, despite his young ages, he's wanted by every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and why you can see why every Tom, Dick, and Harry scouting expert in these things are claiming they knew about the player. Yet you ask them who did dirt at the Euros at the under 19s championship level, they ain't got any answers. I would take him without a doubt. I would love him at the club without a doubt. We've already got a lot of centre midfielders, but he's got scope to be better. When you consider there's Maitland-Niles, there's Guendouzi. If you were to add him into the mix, that's young players with a lot of pedigree. If he was to sign to the club, if I was Joe Willock, I can't lie, I'd probably leave, purely because you look at the central midfield positions. It seems like Joe Willock is the one, excluding obviously Emile Smith, but Joe Willock looks like the one that could make the step up or get chances of some capacity and build upon what he did last year. If they were to bring him in, I would leave, because what, Joe Willock is like 18, 19, turning 20 or so now. Getting to them, you don't need to be the finished article, but it's getting to them years where you kind of need to play first team football. But I've got nothing more to say, man. The guy's a bad boy footballer, quite simply, and yeah, he'll go on to do good things. And it will sooner or later he's going to end up at an elite club. If I was him, I don't know who he's. I know he grew up near Milan and things like that. That's where his city is. So you could imagine the law to playing for Inter Milan, the law of it. Obviously, it's not the Inter Milan of what I grew up with. They were just one of the best teams in Europe, but it's still Inter Milan. I mean, Juventus are linked. I don't need to tell you what Juventus is. I mean, I live in England. I'm not a professional footballer, but if Juventus come and said, "All right, cool, come DG, you'll play no more than 5 minutes of the season," I would jump at it because it's a big club in Juventus, and he's obviously an Italian national, so nobody knows more so than an Italian the importance of the Napolis, these Juventuses, and it doesn't even really matter how big or small a club is. You know what these clubs mean to people, so maybe the attraction. He's been linked with Chelsea. There's Surrey there, Italian, a fellow Italian in him there. Maybe he goes there. They're linked with 20 million bid for him. Now, if he does cost 20 million, I mean, it's money well spent, and you'll be paid back a tenfold. But why I rule out Arsenal is because we've got a lot of central midfielders. There's a lot of departures. Yes, Aaron Ramsey is someone that we can factor into this debate, but there's probably other areas of the squad that could be assessed. I would bring him in because I see a space for a midfielder, as I've said, but looking at it as unbiased, there's probably other areas that need to be assessed. At 20 million pounds for someone that's on one hand got a lot of potential but inexperienced when we need to deal with several other things doesn't make me feel we're going to do it. But for me, it's a no-brainer. So yeah, guys, there's nothing more to say on that front, man. Sandro Tonali is a bad boy footballer, and it won't be long before he's at a big club. Guys, DG, I'm out. Thank you.